Simple questions for 100 people. Welcome to our experiment. I'm Bill Carell, and this is my investigation. This is a research project to gather data from 100 beautiful human beings for the sole purpose to see what actually happens across the interviews. Now, the questions are fixed, and all the interviews will remain consistent, with the variable being the actual participants themselves. So it's as if I'm having you, Robbin, come sit on my porch to share your ideas so I can learn about people. Now, I'm looking forward to what we're going to discover at the end of all of this research. But in the meantime, I'm very interested in you, the process, and your story. So, without all that said, let's just go ahead and get rolling here. What is your full name?
All right. Well, thank you, Bill. I am Robbin Evan Pringle Canzius.
That's cool. That's a mouthful, as a matter of fact. But I like the Pringle part.
Thank you. I wish I had some relation to
Yeah, little cash flow thingy, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So Robin, what is your favorite nickname that most people don't know about?
So when I was a child, my sisters grew up calling me midget. And I am the youngest of three girls,
Yeah,
but I am the tallest. And they still call me midget to this day.
you were short for a little while, but not so much after that, huh?
Yes,
That
yes.
that's very, very cool. And how much of an age difference between the 3 of you?
So from my oldest to myself, there's a 10-year difference. And then from myself to the middle, a 7-year difference. So I kind of grew up by myself,
Yeah,
when they went off to college.
yeah, I get it. Yeah, so you had that later life, only child syndrome, right?
Yes, yes.
Cool. So, when did you first notice what color hair you had?
Oh, so when I was probably about 10 years old, my dad, he used to always talk about the color of my hair because before coloring my hair and highlighting it and bleaching it, I was naturally a brunette, brown hair, but I had a hint of red, especially when the sun hit it just right.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So about 10 years old.
So that was a thing between you and your dad.
Yeah, mhm, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a very common, type of color. It's like when I first grew my first beard, I don't know, 40 years ago, whatever it was. Don't want to age myself too much. I had red highlights in it too. So when the sun hit
Wow,
it the right way, right?
yes. You can see that red hint tone to it.
Yeah, there it is. All right. So now, Robin, what is your favorite thing to do to intentionally waste time?
Oh, I hate to say this, but it's true. Watch reality TV.
Oh, seriously? Now, what do you watch?
I'm a big TV person. I love with reality TV, I have to say it's more like The Housewives and just junk. I hate it, but you know what? It's so thoughtless, especially when I have so much going on my mind. I can
Yes.
just sit there and just let it run and
Yeah.
listen to it. And
Yeah.
kind of the Kardashians as well. I used to watch the Kardashians. I hate to say it, but it's true.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Everybody has something, right? Yours
Yes.
just happens to be mental cotton candy, and that's just how it goes, right?
I
Anyhow,
like how you said that. Mental cotton candy. Thank you.
tastes good, but it isn't any darn good for you, and that's
Right.
okay
Right. Right.
at the end of the day. So, what is your favorite movie to watch alone?
Okay. I have 2, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah, this is your
Okay.
time.
So my first one would be Interstellar.
Oh,
Have you
yeah,
ever seen that one
I
with
have.
Matthew? Okay. That's a good one when I want to really dive deep, think about the universe, think about um, sacrifice, everything that just goes with that movie. It's such a great movie.
Yeah.
Another one for that's timeless that I still watch till this day is National Lampoon Christmas Vacation. That's a good one.
Absolutely, I get it. Yes, absolutely get it. No
Yeah.
doubt about it. So now the reason to watch them alone is
With Interstellar, I can sit there and cry.
there is
Um,
that.
yeah, yeah, and just, like, be with myself.
Yeah,
National Lampoon, I could just laugh and keep playing it on rewind because I
yeah,
just love that movie, and it reminds me of my childhood. It was one
yes.
of my favorite movies as a kid.
Yeah, my favorite scene is when he finally gets all those millions of lights on the house, plugs them all in, and the whole neighborhood goes dark. That was a
I love
lot.
it.
Yeah.
But he worked hard for that, Bill. He
Yeah,
worked
he
hard for
did.
that.
That's why Chevy's always been my hero, no doubt about it.
Yes, I love
So,
him.
all right, now this is my favorite question to ask you in particular. If you were to have an action figure made of you, what superpower would it have, and what colors would the uniforms be?
Oh, man. Uh, I would say my superpower, if I could have one, would be astral projection.
Neat.
Just to with a thought and consciousness, just to project myself there, wherever I'm thinking at that moment. Color, I would say, like, a olive green because I love green.
Yeah,
And I'm very much into, like, chakras, and green is of meaning of the heart.
yeah.
So like a green and gold color.
That's very interesting. Have you done any reading or studying on astral projection?
Kind of,
Yeah,
kind of. It's very interesting. I do a lot of meditation, and so when I am deep into meditation, I feel myself having an out of body experience in a way, sometimes.
very interesting.
Yeah.
When I went to the University of Colorado about 750 years ago, um, I read a book about astral projection that talked about, visualizing a window, inside of your mind, and then making yourself small enough to go through the window, and then rising up and then looking down, at yourself. I did this while I was lying in bed usually,
Mhm.
and there was one time that I did it. I mean, I did it multiple times. And one time I thought I got too far away. I was so afraid I wouldn't be able to get back again. It was like a moment of panic.
And then at that very moment, did you, like, come right back into your body?
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I did. And I sat up, panting and, breathing hard and everything. But you just brought that memory back. That was very
Very
cool.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
very cool. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Well, in the early 70s, that was when we were really starting to experiment a little bit with metaphysicality and all those other things.
Mhm.
And most of them were not induced by any, shall we say, vegetables or minerals. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
most of them were like, meeting and talking with people, sharing ideas, and then trying stuff out, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So thank you for taking me there. I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So now, Robin, what did you want to grow up to be when you were 5 years old?
So ever since I was a kid, I've always wanted to become a hairdresser since I can remember at the youngest age.
Wow.
And after I graduated from high school, I went and actually got my license, went to school for it, and I've been doing it for 16 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's very, very cool. So now that you've been doing it for 16 years, are you satisfied that you've fulfilled all of those dreams?
So it's funny that you say that. I am. I heard the other day someone said, I don't remember who said it, but she said, once you've mastered something, that's when it's time to move on. And I feel like I've mastered it. So I'm ready to move on to my, as I say, my next purpose in life.
Very cool. And
Yeah.
I guess that's the road to mastery, is to always just want the experience for the experience sake, right?
Yes. Yes.
That's
Growth. We all have, that's why I feel like we're here personally because of growth. We have to evolve.
agree. And that's like the difference between doing something to accomplish an end, like there's an end to the journey, and then realizing that no, there's all these just new tests and new experiences and things you can learn more about yourself, and
Yes.
and learn to laugh and learn to enjoy and learn to take on bigger and better things, right?
Yep. It's all a part of the journey.
Yes, it is, and that's where the fun is.
Yeah.
So let me see here. What is your greatest accomplishment?
Hmm. My greatest accomplishment, I would say, taking the courage or having the courage, excuse me, to take the leap of faith to move on to my next purpose in life,
Yeah,
because that takes a lot of courage to do. We get comfortable, like we're comfortable beings. We want to stay in the comfortable, but that to me is not where we grow the most.
right.
So taking that leap of faith.
Yeah, that's 100%. The leap of faith is you have an intention and your past tells you that you'll be successful, but your brain tells you, but what if you're not, you
Yep,
know?
yep.
Yeah.
You're
And
so right about that.
that's one of my favorite quotes. There's a meme on Facebook that says, "What if you fail, my darling? But oh, what if you fly?"
Yes, I've seen that. I love that. I
Yeah,
love that. And so many of us, we stay in our heads. And when we stay in our heads, we are too afraid to venture out because
yeah,
it's scary. It's scary.
agreed. And I would also say that it's the natural state of the human condition to be that way. It's
Mhm.
really only the people who wanna have a little bit of a challenge and get the most out of this life they possibly can that are willing to come out, stick their neck out, and go and try stuff and fail, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that is so, so cool because I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm a few weeks older than you are and have, had that opportunity many times in my life, and my risk tolerance may have been a little bit, less than the people around me, So
Yeah.
and in many cases, they just came along because they had some belief, right?
Yes. Yes.
So what's neat about this is that it's clear that you've done some looking into some things. So I'm interested in who is your favorite person to listen to?
All right. I have 2. I have many, but I wanna narrow it down to 2.
Yeah.
Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Yes.
Dr.
He's a
Wayne Dyer.
he's a scurvy elephant, yes.
Oh, man. Um, I love listening to him, and I
Yeah,
can listen to him all day. Um, and Oprah as well. I love listening to her too. They're 2 beautiful souls, and talk about learning and forever evolving and humanity and love and, everything. So I
yes.
love both of them.
Yeah, if you wanna talk about icons of mastery, those are not bad picks.
Yes, yes.
So, please complete this sentence. When I grow up, I'd like to.
I'd like to have visited all 7 continents, as well as visited all 50 states in the US.
That's interesting. Please say some more.
So I have not traveled much, but that is it's on my bucket list. I wanna go all over the world, literally, and not only go all over the world, but also talk to people and talk to the people that actually live there
Yeah.
and just pick their brain. So, like, I love how you're asking these questions to get to know, the person on the other side of the camera, and I feel like when you do that, you get to learn that person and learn about who they are, their culture. Um, yeah. So I would just love to travel.
I share your penchant for wanting to make friends by understanding who they are to the best of my ability to understand who they are, you know?
Yes. Yes.
I really do like that.
Yes.
And then the 7 continents, that's just because they're there, right?
Yeah, n because there's so much to learn in
Yeah,
those 7 continents, that I personally haven't seen or that I've researched or, that I wanna know more about, that I'm hungry to learn and actually see and be there in that present moment.
perfect, perfect.
Yeah.
And so just for the folks at home who are
Mhm.
probably keeping score, how many states would you say you've been in and roughly how many continents?
Alright, well, only this one, which would be North America, where I live.
You can cross that one off.
Yes. And states, I would probably say New York, Georgia, the Southeast, Colorado,
Yeah,
um, and that's about it. So I
yeah.
have a lot to do. I have to catch up, Bill.
You better get busy. That's for sure. It made me think, my wife and I have both done a lot of traveling together, and we've hit a lot of states, but I think we ought to get a map now and just kinda color in the ones where we've been so we have a hit list of
That's
the few that
awesome.
we haven't been to yet, right?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and I always had some really good friends that, had RVs, and they would put these, little shapes of the states. They actually almost everywhere you go, you can buy them, so you can put stickers on the side of your RV and show all of the states that you've been in, and that's I always thought that was kinda cool too.
I love that. I love that. I so with the RV, my husband and I we took our kids this past April and we rented an RV and drove to North Carolina, excuse me. And that was the first time we've done that. It was one of the best trips we've ever done. It was beautiful.
And how old are your kids, if you don't mind?
Of course. 20, 12, and 10.
Wow, I never would have pegged you for a 20-year-old, but yeah, I get it. How
Y-
nice.
Yeah.
Were they all on the trip?
No, so my oldest wasn't there, but my younger 2 were there. So
So they're going
we
through a little bit like what you went through when you were growing up. Yeah,
yeah,
the older one's not there.
yeah. Well, my oldest one, is my additional child that I, call my own. So he's my stepson.
There you go.
Yeah,
All right, good for you.
yeah.
So let me see here. What
Mhm.
is the most important thing in life to you right now, Robin?
Making sure that I raise children to learn to love themselves and
Yeah,
putting that love out into the world authentically.
yeah,
That's my, that's most important for me right now.
I can get behind that 100%.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And what would you like to leave in the world after your life is done?
These are really good questions too, Bill. They're, like, really thought-provoking. I love this. Um, that that I've helped someone along the way be their best person that they could be, and to
Mhm.
share that love with everyone else.
Yeah. And when you say that, what I hear is giving them a little bit of a sort of a support and a challenge to come out and play at that level
Yes.
because so many people have regrets for never having done that.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
and doing it authentically as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's like authenticity invites authenticity, right?
Yes.
And people
Yes.
get it when it's not there. They absolutely
Yes.
get it when it's manipulation, right?
Yes, yes. Like attracts like.
Yes.
Mhm.
I can see we're gonna be famous friends for a long time, no doubt about it. So I guess the other thing is would you have that intention with any particular people or groups of people, or is there some walk of life that's caught your attention and it would be really, really a great thing if you could make a difference with those folks or with
Yeah.
those folks?
Yeah, so being a hairdresser for 16 years, my clients, just
Yeah.
loving on them and, learning about their lives,
Mhm.
have meant they mean so much to me, and as I've learned over the past couple of years now too, um I am now transitioning into becoming an inspirational speaker. And so I just want people to, to realize that through mindfulness, through intention, through positive thinking, that we can be our best selves and create the life that we want. So I want to share that with anyone who wants to listen.
I'm really, really happy that you did. And I would also, ask you, have you started doing the speaking at this point? Are you starting to get a little muscle with it?
I am I would say more so I started where, on my podcast, if I
Okay,
might say. I started my podcast, so I'm getting comfortable with being out there in the world to people, and putting myself out there. But, the footwork of actually speaking in public, that's my next venture.
good.
So
Absolutely.
hopefully you'll see me, soon out there, Bill, next year.
I think we'll be keeping tabs on each other, definitely, Robin. So we're believe it or not, we're at our last scripted question, and if you go to a good baker and you buy a dozen rolls, what are they going to do? They give you a 13th one, right? So here's your baker's question. What is the thing that most people misunderstand about you?
Oh, this is a good one. I am an introvert, and then I am actually shy because of, when I'm in my element,
Yeah,
I feel like I'm thriving, I'm talking to people and, I'm just loving on them, but naturally, I'm an introvert, and I think people don't really know that.
that's interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we can have a long conversation about that one. And it's kind of a truism that almost everyone starts out in life as an introvert, and some people have bad experiences of trying to just get out there. They're not well received, or they get told to go shut up and sit in the corner or something of that nature. And that gives them the opportunity to decide that it's risky to go out there and say things in front of other people. And then if they're lucky and if God is good to them, and sooner or later they get a chance to find their voice and they get received. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
You're right. You're so right about that. I agree.
So I would have to be told by you that you are naturally an introvert because I wouldn't pick that up from who you're being.
Well, I appreciate that, Bill. I truly appreciate that, seriously.
100% you're on the right track, no doubt about it.
Thank you.
So Robin, do you have any questions of me?
I do.
Okay.
Um, what made you start this podcast, of asking 13 questions? I love that.
All right. This will take a minute or two because I have to kind of draw you a map. Um, about 2.5 years ago, I got tired of listening to all of the um, identity politics. Didn't make sense to me. Um, and a little bit of background, I have two son-in-laws of color. One is part Navajo Indian, and the other one is this beautiful 6'5" man who was raised in Brooklyn and probably could have been a professional basketball player at some point. And I have two beautiful grandsons that are part Navajo, and they also are descended from Governor Bradford from the Mayflower. So you want to talk about an interesting mix.
Yes. I
I've
love it.
always been about providing great opportunities for my two girls, all the way before they were born till now and in their future. And I feel the same way about my sons-in-law and my grandchildren. So I wanted to go out and challenge the notion that people would be alike each other just because of what their appearance was. That just didn't seem to make a lot of sense to me somehow. And, what I wanted to find out is underneath all of that, what motivates, what are important things, what are I'm asking you questions that nobody else in the world would probably ever ask you, especially not in this particular configuration.
Yes.
And in the meantime, we get this opportunity to build a little bit of rapport, and I get to find out more about you and more about me. So I have had a scientific hypothesis, and I think my leading question was, what if people are about very close to being the same on the inside until they feel like they have to behave in a particular way to satisfy other people? Does that make
Mm,
sense?
yes, yes, that does.
And what kind of cramped life are they leading while they're not trying to please themselves and their family and their God, right?
Yes.
So if that's the case, I'm going to stay away from all of those kinds of questions because who even really cares about opinions, right? At the end of the day, there's lots of places to express that. I
Yeah.
want to hear what it sounds like when they're expressing themselves as human beings with basic fundamental human being type things that we
Yeah.
all go through. That makes sense?
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
Thank you
amazing.
for asking.
Of course, I love that. I love that. And, I do have another question if that's okay.
Oh, this is your time.
Okay, okay. We're all well, no, let me go back to the first question. Have you learned what have you learned a lot, from interviewing people and having people on your podcast by asking those questions? Have you learned anything that you, didn't expect to learn, I guess?
In every podcast,
Mm, mhm.
every single podcast. As you know, the dance that we did before I met you was you got introduced to me and I got introduced to you through a beautiful woman named Jan. And we didn't really know much about each other except for we knew we could trust Jan and she'd never, steer us wrong. And so short of that, I was just like this big question mark, and then your different names on the different platforms and the email and all that. So when you came on, I was really delighted and pleasantly surprised with just what a beautiful face you have and a big, beautiful smile. And that's great. I
Thank
can
you.
feel your warmth from over here. And I'm talking to you in specific, but every single person that I've had on has taken the time to thoughtfully embrace those questions as you did and go, you know what? This is my opportunity to tell somebody who actually gives a good rap.
Mm, mhm.
So
Yes,
that's what I've found out about people. And I love creating that connection with other human beings, one on one or one to many or many to one. You know what I mean?
yes,
It gives me life and juice and gives me a good reason to get out of bed every day.
yes, yes.
Very
Oh,
selfish to me.
I love that, Bill. Thank you for explaining that.
Well, thank you for asking the question. Otherwise, I'd have no reason to say what I just said.
Well, let me ask you the second one. Where
Sure.
all have you and your wife traveled to?
Well, see, now that's an interesting question. That might be another podcast, but leave it this way, the number of states that either I or both of us haven't been in is probably less than 10.
Wow.
And I can't tell you exactly as we sit here right now, but for the most part, either landing, a layover in Biloxi, Mississippi, or something of that nature, those are touch and goes, but it counts. So East Coast, West Coast, done all of them. Most of the Midwest. I don't think we've either one of us have been to Montana or North or South Dakota. Wisconsin, yes. On and on it goes. All of the Midwest,
Mhm.
uh, Arizona, Utah, Texas, all the way across all of those. So it might
Wow.
even be less than 5 states that we haven't been to. But we've been to Alaska. We haven't been to Hawaii.
Okay. Wow. Do you have a favorite or a top 3? that you would say. Now I'm putting you on the spot.
I like how you roll. I do. So yeah, I do have a favorite. It's Colorado because that's where my grandsons are. And I get my life out of being around those two guys. They constantly challenge grandpa.
How old are
And,
they, if I may ask?
well, it's at the moment one's 8 and the other one's 10, but the 8-year-old in 3 weeks is going to be 9. There's just a little bit less than a year and a half between the two of them, and they're marvelous human beings. And
Yes.
that's the reason why I'm doing podcasts. I'm hoping at some point it'll impact their lives. They'll get a chance to go and see what grandpa was doing, and that they'll realize no matter what's going on in their head, other people have those same doubts, concerns, wants, desires, dreams, like that.
Yes. Yes. I love that. Yes. Because, we're all the same internally. We all have the same thoughts in a way. And they might be different, but we are all the same. And the only way to find that out is by actually having the conversation because we all want to be heard.
100%. It's that old saying of how do you tell if a boat floats? You put it in water. So you have to be using your talents and you have to be engaging. And the curious mind is a very powerful thing. It's when you think you know things, you've locked yourself down from having authentic, genuine experiences in the moment.
Yes. I
It's
love
the
that.
not knowing that really gives you that opportunity to get out there and have an extraordinary day.
That's right. That's where the magic happens in the unknown.
I see you and me doing some inspirational speaking together.
Let's let's do it.
All right. Good. So, are there any other thoughts that you have, by way of wrap up, or any thoughts you want to leave with our listeners?
Well, Bill, thank you so much for having me on today, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I keep doing what you're doing, and I just love it. I love what you're doing.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you being on today. You are my gift from the universe for this weekend. There's no doubt about that. Thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to another wonderful investigative inquiry into what makes human beings human beings. Again, thank you, Robin.
Thank you, Bill.
You've been listening to Simple Questions for 100 People, part of the Exvadio Podcast Network. You can find every episode at exvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcast app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you find podcasts.